6 o'clock, I'm gonna call meeting to order. City of Anamosa City Council agenda, regular session, Monday, August 9th, 2021, 6 p.m. Anamosa Library and Learning Center and via Zoom. 1.0 roll call.
Crump,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Mackart,
Here.
Zumba,
Here.
Stout,
Here.
Capron,
Here.
Note all council members are present and they are in chamber. 2.0 pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
3.0 approval of agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Alan to approve the agenda as before us. Any council comment? All those in favor of approving the agenda signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to approve carried unanimously. 4.0, motion to approve the minutes from the following meetings. 4.1, July 26, 2021, regular city council meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Jeff. Any further council discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes as submitted signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to approve carried unanimous. 5.0, public hearings. 5.1, public hearing for purpose of reviewing an application for community development block grant funds for owner occupied housing sustainability and to gather public input for community development and housing needs assessment. I will open the public hearing. Please
Okay.
state your name.
Yep, Tracy Achenbach with ECOG. Okay, so I have as your application, I was here before to talk about the housing application. So a requirement of the CDBG funds, and you know this from just having your DTR grant, probably, I don't know if it started last year, I can't remember, but there are some certain things that you have to do. So I'm just going to go through them. I'll try and go through them as quickly as possible. And I will type written things that I have to cover so that you have it all in a nice, concise, exactly what I said. And I apologize in advance, but I am going to read it exactly because I also, when I submit your application, I certify that we have covered all these things. So I'm going to just read through it. The first thing we have to state is how the need for the proposed activity or project was identified. The City of Anamosa has determined that housing rehabilitation funding assistance would be greatly beneficial in implementing its goal of maintaining a safe, livable, and affordable housing stock within the city. The city's previous East Central Iowa Housing Trust Fund application to assist low to moderate income owners with sidewalk improvements, the city's $20,000 contribution toward down payment for a low to moderate income home buyer, and the city's ongoing CDBG downtown revitalization program demonstrates that the city places a great deal of emphasis on making improvements to the community and recognizes the impact housing improvements have on the neighborhoods. How the proposed activity or project will be funded and the source of the funds. The owner-occupied housing rehabilitation project will be funded with $207,495 in federal funds. The date the application will be submitted. The application will be submitted online no later than August 20th, 2021 at 5:00 p.m. The amount of the federal funds to be requested is $207,495. Estimated portion of federal funds that will benefit persons of low to moderate income. 100% of the funds will benefit households with income at or below 80% of the area's median income. Where the proposed activity or project will be, the proposed activity will be located within the city limits of City of Anamosa and outside of the 1% annual chance floodplain, which is the new name for a 100-year floodplain. The plans to minimize displacement of persons and businesses as a result of funded activities or projects. Due to the lead hazard reduction activities required as part of this program, homeowners may be temporarily relocated from their homes as part of the project. Because the project is an exterior improvements rehabilitation project, and the only interior work to be done will be lead hazard reduction activity, displacement is not anticipated to occur often. If it does, a portion of the grant has been dedicated to cover the costs associated with temporary displacement. The amount will be allocated as necessary for each rehab project. Number 8, plans to assist persons actually displaced. Those owner occupants who are required to temporarily relocate will be asked to find housing that is lead safe in which to be relocated until the rehab home has passed clearance testing. The city will pay up to 3 days of relocation expenses and reimburse the rest of the funds once the full amount of days out of the project home is known. I'm going to add in here, and that's all federal funds. If the homeowner is to enter the home during a period of relocation activity, funds will not be awarded or reimbursed. And finally, the nature of the proposed activity or project. This project will provide for the exterior rehab of 5 owner-occupied homes and the voluntary relocation of these participants within city limits. Exterior improvements will be completed, and any lead hazards identified in the interior of the home will also be addressed. Rehab activities include, but are not limited to, siding, gutters, roofing, windows, and activities related to lead hazard reduction. Eligible households must meet the state of Iowa's Housing Fund income guidelines. The home to be rehabilitated must be the occupant's principal residence and be located outside of the 100-year floodplain, and property insurance on the home is required. Maximum federal dollars to be spent per home for the rehabilitation costs is $24,999 plus an average of $6,000 per house for lead hazard reduction activities. The federal funds utilized for rehabilitation will be secured by 5-year forgivable loans. So, as that just stated, the total amount of the project is paid with federal dollars. The total amount that we are applying for is $207,495. One other thing that I have to do, and this has changed since last year when you did this with the DTR, they require us to do more with this. This is the Community Development and Housing Needs Assessment. So if you remember, there are 3 different areas to it. One is identifying community development and housing needs specific to low to moderate income persons. The next one is identifying other community development and housing needs. That would be for anyone in the community. And the last one is your planned or potential activities to address housing and community needs. So the first one, going back to the first one, and I have to request public comment if there is some, or if anybody has something that they would like me to write down on here, that's great. And then I will add it to the minutes that I type up tomorrow morning. But so the first one is the community development and housing needs of low to moderate income persons. And the first one that I've put down under that is rehab of existing housing in the community, particularly those owned by low to moderate income persons and seniors in need of assistance to make homes more safe and energy efficient while improving neighborhoods. That's the first one, okay? So I need to put 3 in the application. One I thought about, and I don't know what you think about this, but since you did put money toward the home buyer in that one subdivision, whether we have one of them be increased opportunity for home purchase for low to moderate income home buyers. I don't know. And then I didn't know there's a couple of them that I have down here. I was thinking about your DTR project downtown and wondering about the upper story, if there are any that would provide potential rental properties. It wouldn't have to necessarily go just in the LMI section. It could go down below. And then another one I thought about was just, which is a standard one we use, is assuring that public services are provided at affordable rates for persons with low to moderate income. So I'd like your input on those. That's what I think too, since that's obviously is something that you've identified. Yep. So then,
Sorry, could someone else repeat Beth's question? Because I don't think her microphone is working.
Is it now?
It's very faint, but yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all I commented was that since we'd already set aside the down payment assistance program, to include that with our application.
so I guess I would suggest that, I mean, have you ever made priorities for city funding for like senior dining or food bank or any of your, you know, like utilities, like if there's anything that you assist people with in regard if they have lower income?
So currently we partner with Jones County with senior dining. So the building, the property, the building that it's run out of is the city's property, and then Jones County runs the program.
Okay. So maybe what we could say is ensure, I don't know, building space or something for activities for seniors, such as senior dining. Does that sound right?
That sounds right.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
because they do other things there too. They have music and social.
Okay,
things.
okay. So ensure a building space for senior activities, including senior dining. Okay, so we just have to have 3. So I'm going to take the other 2 and not use them for this one. Okay. Is that all right? Unless you want me to.
Should be all right.
Including, I have to write it down because you know what, even by tomorrow morning, I'll be like, what? Okay. So then the other community development and housing needs, that is just the community overall. It doesn't have to be a low to moderate income person. What you see as community development and housing needs in your community. So one of them that I put down was to increase the number and rehabilitate the existing housing stock.
Very good.
Okay. I kind of made that one up off the top of my head.
Well, you did a good job because there are a lot of empty houses, I think,
Okay.
that need some
Okay.
TLC.
Okay. And then another one I thought maybe we should put, because I know I think you want to do another DTR, is encourage further improvements to the downtown buildings.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Oh, thanks. Nobody said that to me today, so thank you. Let's see. So then this one was on here, and I have a feeling it might have been from last year's, but I don't know if it was something specific to this community. Ensure that transportation options in the community provide adequate mobility, accessibility in all areas of the community. Was that something for this community? Does that sound?
Your yard and sidewalks, and it's been thrown around. So,
Okay, yeah, well, it
Additional
says
sidewalks.
transportation options. But if you have been talking about sidewalks, that could certainly be making sidewalk improvements.
Different areas of town that don't have sidewalks, is that what you're getting at? In that-
I'm not getting at anything really.
Maybe more like currently we have Jets
Yes.
Yeah.
that serves
Uh-huh.
Anamosa, Jones County
Uh-huh.
has their transportation that will take
Okay.
anyone.
Okay, so that's not really something.
No.
Do you want to put something in about the sidewalks, or is there some initiative you're doing, community development wise or housing wise? Another one I put in here regarding housing is encourage a variety of options in price and type of newly constructed housing. I mean, a lot of communities like that one just because it provides you know, but it can also be anything community development related. Like if you were, what would you do with the sidewalk program? Would you not necessarily improve the existing sidewalk, but put sidewalks in
There's-
neighborhoods that don't have them?
There's some places here in town where it's necessary. I think that you see a lot of people walking from downtown underneath the overpass to Walmart, and there's no sidewalks. It's just, some of them are walking on the street, some are walking in the dirt when it's not raining and things aren't muddy. It might be something that we want to look into.
Okay, so maybe, all right, then I just realized I'm going to take out the newly constructed and I'll put something in the other one because I say increase the number of rehabilitated housing of the existing housing. No, increase the number and rehabilitate the existing city's housing stock. So improve the connectivity in the community through sidewalk installation or improvements.
Yeah, improve pedestrian connectivity.
Okay.
We
Improve
We
the,
did partner with the county on the trail project. that
okay,
That actually lies within the community.
okay,
Sidewalk connectivity to all parts of town or all parts of town.
okay. That sounds great. And then the third one will be encourage further improvements to the downtown buildings, since that
Mhm.
extends your current downtown revitalization. Okay. So planned or potential activities, which is why we bring up some of these things, planned or potential activities to address the housing and community needs. So one of them is to apply, believe it or not, apply for funding under the Community Development Block Grant to assist low to moderate income households with making improvements to their homes. Big surprise. Continue the downtown revitalization program is one I think you
Oh, yeah.
should have in there. And then the third one, continue to, you tell me, continue to make
Strides to support low and moderate income housing.
well, you could do that, true, because you did do the down payment one. About continue to encourage housing for low to moderate income. That be okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Let me make sure. Mayor, I think I'm done with what I need to do.
Thank you for your assistance with that.
Yeah, I'll keep my comment. Okay, yeah. You're welcome.
Does the council have any questions for Tracy?
I just have one real quick one. So you're saying we're applying for 207,000, but it's 5 households. If you divide that out, that's like 41,000. But the max per person is 25 plus like 6 for, and that's only 31. So what's the $10,000 difference per household?
So 3,790 per household is the technical services. That's the the housing inspector doing the specs. And
Okay.
he generally visits the property 3 times in the beginning. Well, not 3, probably more like 5.
Okay.
And then the lead hazard was the 6,000 you talked about. And then also they allow us a certain amount under each category. And so then what I basically do is try and apply for the maximum. Well, actually, I think it's maybe $100 shy or almost $1,000 shy, because then if we get through, so remember that we had to identify the homeowners in advance. So if we get through those, it's my hope that if we have money left over, we can maybe do one more house, if we have someone. So what I try to do is max out each area that they'll let me. So then 1,710 is what they call lead hazard carrying costs. And that's like the testing and the stuff like that that's required. And then I also allocated $1,000 per home for relocation. So just in case somebody has to be relocated, it may be that 3 people go by and we don't have to, but the 4th one does. And maybe $1,000 wouldn't cover them, but we could use some of that we haven't used on a previous, if that makes sense. So that's where it all comes out. And that comes out to $37,499 a house. And then 20,000 we have for general admin, and that's just the grant administration stuff that's required of us to do during the grant. So that's where the 207,495 comes from. Good question.
Did we only get, we never got any more than 5 applicants?
You got more,
Okay.
um,
Only 5 were the.
but only 5 qualified. Yeah. And they all asked, remember we had the discussion last time about exterior improvements or architectural barriers. They all applied for exterior improvements. So that's why we're doing that activity.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
So have you heard from anybody on this?
I have not received any verbal or written commentary as of the meeting tonight.
Then I'll make a motion to close public hearing. Second.
Motion by Rich, second by John, to close the public hearing. Also have any discussion? All those in favor of closing the public hearing signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to close public hearing carried unanimously. 5.2, resolution to approve the award of the CDBG grant technical service contract upon notification of CDBG grant award.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Kay. Any council discussion? Any public comment? Beth, Penny, conduct the roll vote, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimously. 5.3, review and approve owner occupied exterior improvements rehabilitation administrative plan for CDBG program year 2021.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Alan. Council discussion. Public comment. All those in favor of the motion signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to approve carried unanimous. 5.4, resolution to approve submission of the 2021 Housing Sustainability CDBG grant application and associated documents.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Rich. Further council discussion? Public comment? Penny, would you please conduct the roll vote?
Eckhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 5.5, authorize mayor sign HUD disclosure form 2880 for the CDBG application.
Move to approve.
Second.
Was that you, Rich?
Yes.
Thank you. Second by Alan. Any further discussion? Public comment? All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to approve carried unanimous. 5.6, authorize mayor sign federal assurance signature page for the CDBG application.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alan, second by Rich. Further council discussion? Public comment? All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to approve carried unanimous.
I forgot to say, Mayor, that when you were passing the resolution for the application, there's also this, now we have to submit the full environmental review with the application, even though we can't publish and go through that process, if you remember that lovely process from your DTR. But we cannot do that until you're actually funded. But I have left the environmental review record with Beth because it's already done. And these forms, which I think Beth has already have them ready for the mayor to sign, he'll have to sign them. They're part of the application. So in that resolution, it said to approve the application and other forms. That's really what this meant, was the environmental review record that we conducted. So that's it. I'm done.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you very much for your due diligence.
Visiting.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you.
6.0 proclamations, none. 7.0 old business. 7.1 second reading of an ordinance providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the July 2021 addition to the Anamosa Corridor Urban Renewal Area pursuant to the section 403.19 of the Code of Iowa.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Kay. Further discussion from council? Public comment? Still, have you received any? Penny, would you conduct a roll vote?
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 7.1, item 1, possible motion to give final consideration and adoption of ordinance. Hearing none. Item 1 dies for lack of motion. 7.2, final reading and adoption of an ordinance amending section 95.06 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Anamosa, Iowa, and adding section 90.10, item 3, to require annexation as a condition for connection to the city's sanitary sewer service and water work system.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Alan. Further council discussion? Public comment? Penny?
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eckhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 7.3, project status update from HR Green, Andrew Marsh, Josh Stanley, Jeremy Kamer.
Rebecca, will you unmute Jeremy?
Yes, I will.
Good evening, council. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Fantastic. This is Jeremy Kemmer speaking. So last time, I believe there were some questions about the Anamosa Sycamore project that we're following up on here.
Yes, mainly the questions were about the grade of the driveway approaches.
Yes, so the grades of the driveways currently are quite steep beyond current design standards. I think the steepest one is near 20%. Ideally, we would like those less than 10 or closer to 7, according to statewide urban design and specifications guidance. But by narrowing the roadway and raising the curb line to match the existing roadway cross section, we're able to flatten those out. And I believe there was a comment that Shane relayed to me about perhaps water going backwards towards garages. And that is absolutely not going to be a problem. I think the shallowest grade is still about 8%. So we're flattening them all, making them more palatable and easier to traverse, a little bit longer, but none of them would meet adverse grade. They would have to go up by 2 feet or so. But so, for example, the driveway in the middle on the south side is being changed from about a 17% grade to about a 10%. So these are improvements, but they all still drain away towards the street like they should.
Oh, but I live in one of them houses. How much is the fill gonna be from, like on the lawn part, from the sidewalk to the new street? You know how much that'll be, how deep that will be or filled in?
So because we're taking out that existing curb and kind of scooching it inwards, on the south side of the road, it's not going to be very much. It's basically the volume of the existing curb as we're pushing it out forwards. The north side, where we're narrowing it in, has a very steep grade with the embankment, you know, the trees that are coming out of it. It'll be a little bit more, but it's still going to be a more gentle, less severe slope so that it's not putting pressure on the back of the sidewalk there. We're mostly preserving the existing sidewalk. So it's not going to change things so much that you would even really notice it. It just create a little bit extra room. So it's not an incredible amount of fill because we're able to regrade what's there as well. And I was directed by this street superintendent, some of that fill might be able to be found locally rather than having a contractor haul it.
You know, I'm sure you've got designed, it'll work out. Just wondering.
Any other questions, comments for Jeremy?
On the north side, the retaining wall, how high is that
Yes.
going to be?
Let's see. So I'm going to pull up my plan set here real quickly. At the highest point, basically where the stairs start, I think it's about 3.5 feet, about 42 inches. That's the highest point. And it kind of tapers down. So it doesn't wrap around the corner. So it'll build up gradually, you know, 1 block at a time, and then it'll hit that 42-inch mark and then taper down as it meets existing grade. I'm going to pull up my plans just to make sure. Yes, it appears to be 42 inches.
And is that retaining wall going to be on city property or is it on private property?
The retaining wall itself will be in the city's right of way.
Okay. So if kids get to playing on it and fall off, who's liable? Unfortunately, little kids will start climbing on stuff.
That would be a question for your lawyers. But
It shouldn't be the homeowner, should it? No.
No. not-
Yeah, it's not on their property.
Okay.
When you tear out the driveways as you're narrowing, and how far back in from the street do you go with your repairs of the driveway that gets torn down because of that?
That's a
As far
good
as the side-
question. So we're taking them all the way back to the city's right-of-way limits. So we're going right up to the edge of their property line as far as we can without acquiring additional easements.
Okay,
Now, if the adjacent property owner wishes to reconstruct the rest of their driveway, you as the city can provide that information to the residents when you put it out for notice, so that perhaps they could coordinate with the contractor and perhaps come up with their own agreements to finish the rest of the driveway, but that will not be your responsibility.
that was going to be my next question. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments from council? This time I'll ask for public comments or questions.
I have a couple questions.
Yep, come to the podium.
I'm Dan Smith. I live at 204 East Sycamore. There is that liability issue. Me and my wife have talked about it, and I didn't know if it'd be possible to put some kind of little railing on top of that wall just to prevent kids from taking their bikes up my lawn and ramping off of it. What have you. The other concern I have is I would like to say that walnut tree is the only tree I have left. And the other one was we poured new steps with railing on the sidewalk, existing sidewalk. Will the new sidewalk match up to the sidewalk going to my house?
So for the first question about whether or not a railing could be constructed on top of the retaining wall, that was not the initial intent, but that could be something that we could talk with the city about implementing as part of negotiations. As for the tree, the sidewalk is tying in prior to the tree. And so there will be some fill as we're moving the curb line inwards, but we will not be touching the root system of the tree. We might put a little bit extra dirt on top of the base, but nothing to impact. We're not digging down around it at all. And the final question related to the stairs with the railing going up to your property. We will likely need to redo some of those lower stairs just to match it up nicely. But we're not going to rebuild the sidewalk all the way into your yard or anything. We're just probably adjusting the lower stairs.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to ask, but
Okay.
is there a better map or aerial view of exactly what you're going to do available? Because you can't really see on the plan very well.
Perhaps we could put together an exhibit for the city to share with you.
I'd like to
is-
see something like that.
So I believe you're the property in the northwest corner, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so there will likely be an easement document that needs to be discussed related to the construction of that retaining wall, and we can show that all zoomed in so that you can see it more clearly.
Yeah, because I'd like to actually just see how it's going to look and how it's going to tie in with existing sidewalks. That kind of.
Sure.
Because it is really going to impact my property or my corner there, probably more than anybody else in the whole project. Is that safe in saying that? With the alley coming in there on the other side? All the
Yeah, the alleyway is the biggest change, but yes, the reconstruction of those stairs in the corner there create the most work, but
So
not a lot of it spills onto your property.
So will all the sidewalk on the Sycamore Street side be replaced? Because I've done about 120 feet myself, and it's all good sidewalk.
Sidewalk will be replaced from where the stairs are currently that are being turned into an ADA compliant landing It'll tie back up to around where your staircase is prior to where the tree starts. And then heading north along, is that Davis on the east or is that Williams? I forget.
Williams.
Williams, okay. Davis didn't sound right. All right, so and then along Williams, we're going up to about where there's a traffic pole, or not a traffic pole, but a light pole there. So that's about how long it'll take to catch back up to grade.
Well, the proposal or the thought I have is if we're gonna rip out 120 feet of perfectly good sidewalk, then I do have bad sidewalk up on the Williams side, and I would like it replaced during the project. I think that would be
I'm sorry, I
fair.
don't fully understand the location that you're referring to, the
So-
Williams side.
Excuse me, it's going up Williams Street, where the stairs currently are going up Williams. Because you're on the corner of Williams and Sycamore, correct?
Okay, sorry, yes, I've reoriented myself. I got confused when I asked the question about Davis and Williams. All right, could you repeat your question?
So, like I said, we're ripping out perfectly good sidewalk, probably 120 feet of it, 4 foot. I poured it. We're gonna rip that out as part of this project. So I have sidewalk that has to be replaced up on Williams Street to tie into the new stuff that you're gonna pour. I would like that section of sidewalk replaced going up to my property.
The section of sidewalk replaced up to your property, you're referring beyond
Where
the
that,
stairs?
from where that
Or-
pole go, from where that pole
Oh,
is.
north along the rest of your property,
There
okay.
you go. Perfect.
We were just trying to get back up to grade in order to minimize costs. The sidewalk, as you said, is mostly in good condition, so, but the city crews would be capable of doing repairs independent of this project as well.
I just think it'd be better if we could tie it into the project and do it all at once, rather than get everything replaced and then tear out and fix and what have you. So those are my thoughts. Thank you for your time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for your questions.
That would be a question for the city council, not necessarily the engineer. And that would also be a question you're gonna have to ask for everybody else who's on that street. We're gonna replace the plants and sidewalk. Hopefully that for everyone in this sidewalk replacement. Not necessarily part of the project. That would be something that we would handle internally.
Any other public comment? Hearing none. Jeremy, thank you for that status update. Was there any other projects you wanted to bring before the council?
No, council, I haven't been working on the other projects with our team, so if there are no further questions, I will bid you adieu.
Thank you for joining us. 8.0 new business. 8.1 review and approval of change order for color of the exterior of the fire station addition and current building. Dan Frank, Fire Chief.
My name is Dan Frank, 1617 Meadow Ridge Court. I think in your council packet was some color samples. In fact, you have a hard copy.
Yeah, they will have a similar.
Okay. So I did talk to some people that live around the area. A lot of them want to see a color change, get rid of that green color and all that faded metal that's on the building. Did not get I did not get any negative feedback on the blue and white that we discussed at the last council meeting. And all the people that I've talked to are really looking forward to seeing the building addition done and a final completed project.
You have a list of who you talked to that would have-
I don't have a list.
I'm wondering, I think there are some of us that are liaison to the fire department that haven't been included in any meetings lately. Is there an issue?
Issue as the color of the fire station?
No,
Or-
just why we haven't been included in any of the discussions.
So there really hasn't been a whole lot of discussions in the past couple months within the fire department on the addition. So a lot of that was just back on when the previous chief was in charge on discussions probably back in April, May on it.
I wasn't there, so.
I wasn't there.
I do have a letter I received from one of the neighbors. Just, I can read this, if you'd like. I think everybody in the council received it. It would have been from Nancy and Mike Schaefer. It just said, "Good morning, council and administration. I see the color of the fire station will be discussed again and voted at the council meeting. I know some of you like blue as an identifying color for Anamosa. Anamosa is much more than the Blue Raiders. The hospital chose not to go with bright blue for their building or ambulance. The care center's newest addition went with a more neutral color. Metal Design is doing a complete overhaul of the Bennett building, and they have chosen a neutral color scheme. Even the school district, home of the Anamosa Blue Raiders, has chosen to go with more pleasing colors for all of their buildings. Most of the developments ban bright blues. Bright blue is definitely considered a trending color. I realize this request is being made by the new fire chief. This is a publicly owned building surrounded by residential. We wanted to give our observations as you get ready to vote. We hope you will keep in mind aesthetics and budget as you vote, and you stay with the neutral color palette. They also own a property on Shaw Road that adjoins the fire station location. That's the only one.
Well, the one comment I've got is, I'm gonna say it's probably along the same lines as you've got in here. I think you got an email to Beth late this afternoon about the cost of reskinning the existing building.
Yes,
Looks like it's gonna total close to $16,000.
that is correct.
Your project right now is already over budget, and now you want to take it further over budget?
We would like to see, when it's all said and done, everything tying in together as a complete project, than to have a addition that goes up and not everything ties in completely.
Well, and I get that. And see, I would consider this a want, not a
Not
need.
a need. Yeah.
And we've got a lot of needs in this community already to get taken care of, that if we do this, we may have to put something else on hold. So as far as reskinning the existing building, I've got a little hiccup with that one right now. I too would like to see it more of a neutral color. But as I understand too, if I remember this correctly, by you guys changing and asking for a change order to this new color, it's already postponed everything 2 months. Is that correct?
I don't know. I, again, was not involved in any of this discussions with changing the color of ordering the building. I'm not sure why the contractors communicated with the fire department directly instead of the city. It is a city contract. So I can't answer that question, honestly.
Okay, I thought I read someplace that it came in and said that it was by changing color, it would postpone it 2
I
months.
was told that if we change the color back, that it's gonna postpone it.
No.
Which the color should have never been changed in the first place without council approval. But that's what I was told by Bud at the pre-con, that if we have to change the color, it's gonna postpone it again. So I'm assuming from that, that changing the color is the first time postponed it. But again, I don't know that for sure.
I don't know for sure the details of that.
I guess, and perhaps it wasn't, how it was handled aside, I think if there's a thought of changing the color, now would be the time to do it. And maybe if maybe blue isn't the answer and you're talking neutral, I'm guessing a lot of these new buildings are like Fairway on that south side, that kind of tan brown scheme that's real neutral, that's popular, or a lot of them you see are gray or tan. So I guess not speaking specifically on color, I'm just more conceptually if we're gonna time it together or change, and now it's time to do it. And the color is kind of a different conversation, but just this is kind of it. I mean, we're not gonna add on again. If it's faded and you're not gonna get it to match, if you're gonna spend that much money, you might as well have it looking good and have something neutral. Because I mean, 20 some years ago, the hunter green was big and that was trendy.
There's another way we could probably get around this too. And Rich has got a point as far as our budget. We're very well aware of the number of projects we're involved in. There's only one area where the color change is going to be extremely visible, and that's above the doors where the sheet metal meets. Other than that, from there down to the ground, there's a door splitting everything out. You could put up some kind of a sign if the fire department guys have got some kind of a saying like, we never let a fire get away from us, or put a sign up across there that will go, 10, 15, 20 feet both directions. So that color is over there and this color is over here. And it's not going to look as obvious as far as the color difference. I understand your thought process about this, and I think it's a good idea, but I don't think it's a good idea right now. The most important thing is the functionality and the ability for your fire department to do what it needs to do and have the room to do it. And this is something that I think we should probably just step away from. I thought a lot about it since the last meeting, and we need you guys, we need the equipment, we need the room, but we really don't need to change the tin. Not yet, anyway. That's just my thought.
$16,000.
Yeah, well, and that's just the cost of the materials.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now we got to pay to have it done.
Well, fire department was gonna do it.
Well,
Well, that being said, it's still.
I mean, I guess if you have a color you already don't like, then just because you have it, like if you got an ugly color house, you put an addition on just because you don't like the color, you go ahead and add on the ugly color. I'm not saying that our station's ugly. I think there's better colors that it could be, because the old part you're still going to see when you go by, and you're going to be proud of this new addition. And you have this washed out hunter green and orangish, tannish brown.
Yeah, but, I drive by that fire station every single day and I don't pay attention to the color of it.
Because it's washed out. Maybe
No,
that's something
I
else.
don't pay attention to the color of it. It doesn't matter if it's
Well, you don't
washed
know. I
out or
mean,
not.
People out of town are going to notice it. It's one of our, should be one of our bragging.
Some people will, some people won't. And you comment about, if you're building a house or adding on to your house, you want to make everything, it's personal choice each time. In this case, it's 6 personal choice. It's up to us whether we decide to do it or not.
Well, and it also factors in the cost.
the cost.
Correct.
Is also a factor
Very
in,
much.
do you make that change or don't you make that change?
So if we stay with it, we're going to have 2 buildings that don't match. You'll never get the color the same, and one's going to be faded.
Well, that's okay. It'll still be a fire department that functions as a working fire department. I don't think if I have a fire, I'm gonna go out there and look to see what color the building is.
But if you're paying $750,000 for an addition, don't you think you want to have something you're proud of at the end?
I will be proud of the department.
Our boys are doing one heck of a job.
Exactly.
I've heard a lot of good comments about our fire department and the people that are in it. And my opinion right now is that functionality and the crew that we have is more important than the color of the tin
Perfect.
I agree with that. It's protecting the equipment. If what we've got is working.
And giving our people what they need to do the job.
Yep.
Exactly.
How long have we been waiting for this addition? How long has it been working on? 14 years or more? It should have been not changed to begin with. We'd be working on it now. It would be getting done. All you're doing is delaying it more. And it's been 14 years in the process or more.
I'm not arguing here. I'm just saying now's the time to spruce up the old part, I guess.
Before I got onto this council, people were complaining that things weren't happening, and we stepped up to the plate since I've been on the council. I'm really proud of the people that I'm working with here, and I think that we're making the right decision tonight too. I would like to see the color changed. I really would. I just think this is not the right time to do it.
So if we stick with the original colors in the fire station, would we still stick with the green on there? Or could the green be completely eliminated to where down the road, if we wanted to go through and re-tin the rest of the building to match correctly, we didn't have to be stuck with the green again?
Be the new addition in that.
In what color you want?
And
It's close to the tan.
do that and do a different trim. Is that what you want?
That'd be one suggestion, would be the greens, of course, is out of date.
I would like to see it stay some kind of an earth tone. I think that's more pleasing to most
So
eyes.
we're saying you do the new building in what color we want, and then leave the old one in when they want to fundraise or whatever at a later date down the road, redo the existing building that we're talking about.
So we're thinking of sticking to a color that will match, pick a color off that palette that matches what we have now for the tan color.
Well,
And eliminate
As similar as possible.
as similar as possible and eliminate the green
I don't know
off
if you
of
can
it.
see this, but this is an example of like what the, are you thinking like what the fairway is, this tan and brown scheme? Anybody see that? That or,
More of a neutral color.
or, I mean, that's tan, I don't know how close that is to. But. I'm talking neutral.
I know the tan is.
Your saddle tan, I
Probably a
guess.
saddle tan, and if you wanted to go the cocoa brown,
I don't know, if it would even be necessary to switch to a two-tone or keep it
Just keep it all
just keep
tan.
it all tan.
And,
you can
To
do that,
where-
and leave the trim the same. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, Bill, I guess it's a big enough decision is, I guess we can tentatively see simple, like even your siding on your house to like have a piece of the metal and the actual color in your hand, because I know with like siding on your, what it looks like on the computer and what it looks like in real life is different things. Cause to me, that saddle tan looks kind of like the tan we have on the fire station.
That's a color right there.
Can I see the real one?
I think the important thing is to make a decision so that we can get started on it, or it's gonna be another 14 years before it's done if we say.
I agree.
Keep
Definitely.
Talking about the color.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Need
guess
to
the
get
question is,
going.
do you want to match it as close as possible now, or do you want to get the color you're going for and maybe have it not match 100% for a few years until you get how you want it? Because that's the question.
You're really not gonna see.
It's not a big deal.
Corners on the front, the back corner is
Yeah.
gonna-
Oh, I know on the addition, but on the existing part, when they do match that, that's the color you're gonna see. I know on the new part, you're not gonna see it. But I'm saying pick a color, not so much to match what you have, but a color that you're ultimately gonna put on the existing one, because that's the color you will see. Because to me, that saddle tan is a little bit, it is close to what we have now, but I don't know. I don't know. I think cocoa, something a little darker looks a little better. That's just personal preference, but I just want to get something we like, not something we're trying to match, something we don't like that we plan to get rid of, I guess is my line of thinking. So,
Beth, what were the original colors in the proposal to match
which the closest thing is fern
those
green.
colors, Dan, on the existing fire station, just for clarification with the council, are what?
I have no clue what they,
Tan and hunter green.
Which
Yeah.
The closest thing on this is that fern green, but I'm sure that won't
Here.
match.
There's
You
two,
don't wanna do the green, it's just the
Yeah.
tan. Just get something that goes with the tan.
right now, there's two different shades of green on that building. So, and there's two different styles of tin on the
I
building.
mean, I'd like to take
And
that
there's 4
down.
colors of paint on the fire hydrant, so I'm sorry. I don't think it matters.
Well, you want it to look nice, but I think
Wasn't
you're
there saying,
tan and do the trim the same color.
they're
like
saying if
Dan
they're gonna
said.
do something, do it right? I don't know. I just,
Like I said, we need to decide tonight and get it done. Or you're gonna be middle of winter next spring before we get going. This needs to be done.
I mean, to me, that cocoa brown looks like what's on the front of fairway. I think that's really neutral. Looks really nice.
That's. I'm gonna stay out of it. I'm an artist and I've got my own opinion, but this isn't the time to do it. We need to get this thing going, like Kay says. It's time we get you guys in a building that will do what it needs to
Right.
for what you need.
I mean, if you're passing that around, I think my vote would be for cocoa brown or saddle tan, probably more so cocoa brown. But
For the whole building?
well, of the new part, you're not going to see that much of it. But
I-
then I'm thinking ultimately for when you reskin the old fire station. to
I will
what
tell
color
you
really
that that
gonna like.
cocoa brown will fade faster than a lighter color
Yeah.
because it'll heat up more. You're better off to use a light color on the building.
Are these our only options? Is there any other tans available or is this it?
You want to see this, John?
There's only really 2 tan colors. You go to Menards for your house, there's like 100 shades of tan you can pick from. So just cute. I'm just,
We just have these.
and that's fine. I just,
Probably not as many options on the metal as,
I've seen more. It's 'cause
I'm sure there's more, but.
one company's colors isn't another company's colors.
Well, it probably depends on where the supplier's coming out of and what they've got.
This is the front. we were getting.
Desert Star.
well, would it be safe to have some?
Real quick, Beth, we're having real troubles here.
Sorry. The color samples are from the same company that's gonna provide the building, is all I said.
What's your thoughts on saddle tan or cocoa brown? Would be your preference?
Well, I mean, I guess it basically is in your guys' hands. So, I mean, whatever your closest match is going to be, I don't know if it will be a 100% match.
No, you're not gonna get 100%,
No.
no matter what. but
Is my understanding of, on the original quote or proposal, it was to match the existing, which was tan and 100 green. That's the way it would stand unless council tonight decides to make a change. Dan, representing the fire department and the association, has brought forth the colors that they would prefer. The council, if the council's looking to go a different direction, I believe we would need a motion tonight for the color or colors of the building that is to be constructed.
Good question. So if we are to change from the matching the 100 green tan to whatever tan it is on just the new building, is that a cost increase or do we stay? Because are all the metals?
Yeah, there's no cost increase.
This doesn't change.
So basically our decision tonight, if we're going this route, is there's no cost increase. It's basically setting ourselves up for what color do we want to ultimately see.
We
If
either
you guys
pick-
reskin the old buildings.
We
Unless
either
you
do it
carry
in one
over to
color
the
or we
existing.
do it in a two-tone, whatever.
And part of that, yes, I'd like to see the 100 green if we want to do that, get rid of that. But do we want to keep it all one color or do we want to have the trim in a
Offset.
darker brown or something else?
So
I don't like that brown.
I talked to. Yeah, I know, but the fairway combination is cocoa brown and beige, I believe. is a, I don't see beige on here, but,
They also had
It
some
might be
yellow
that-
mixed
or
in
taupe,
there.
excuse me, it's called, the technical color, the lighter tan is taupe. And the darker one is the cocoa brown.
On that,
Do we make a
no,
motion?
what's your preference? What would your people be, what would you people talking about as far as color?
So as a membership, we're talking more of a blue and white. Now, if we're sticking to, as I understand it, be the cost of the projects going to be over budget. And even if we decide to do change the color completely and have to have the extra expense of the material to update the existing. So if we took, if that is not an option, I think personally that sticking to a color that would just match the existing, get rid of the green and make it all the trims and everything one color. Then if down the road, we sit there and reskin the existing fire station now to match right, then we could sit there and match just one color, not match up with the green and the green again.
Probably better whichever tan. I mean, that's what that is all that. If you go to the other one, the darker, that cocoa brown, well, if it's 5-6 years before you get to it, get the money, well, the trim on the new one could already be fading a little, and then you'd be right back, same thing, not matching as well. So I think, just like you said, the dark with drawing, it draws heat more, will probably fade quicker
You can always
because of the
use
heat
a,
situation.
you can always use white as the trim too. You don't have to go to a dark color.
That's true.
But if you do white now, these can definitely not blend together.
Nothing's gonna blend together anyway, but we just need to decide what to do.
Maybe I asked this, already, but do you know if there's any more colors or in our, this is all. he's
No,
got.
that's
the choice.
I
Okay.
think our best bet is to stay with just one solid color period, because if we change the trim color, now we've got 3 different colors on the building.
And since it's taken 14 years to get the building, do we think that we're gonna be able to get it redone, recovered in
My-
a
yeah, my
shorter
wor- my
period of
worry is
time? We've got other things. that we
My
need
worry
to-
is that 10 years down the road, we're still thinking about retrimming the building now. We've got no match tin anyway.
Meantime,
Exactly.
if we do a tan that's somewhat close, it'll look good in the interim, and then,
About as good as we can at this time, I think.
but no one, like I said, no one's gonna, it's not really about the new building, because you're not gonna see a lot of it. It's just, I'm thinking when you reskin it to get a color that's gonna both match now, but also ultimately look nicer when they do reskin it, so.
Well, the closest color to match now would probably be that saddle tan, wouldn't it?
We have to pick off of this sheet. Is that correct?
That's what it sounds like.
Yes, I believe so.
We're talking one color, not trim, not two to them.
Well, according to mine, they're all gray.
What shade of gray do you want?
Then what we do is probably, I've never held this up against the building. I drove by it tonight and made sure I took a look at it. But whichever one's going to be the closest. Which one is that?
I can't tell you without going up there.
It sounds to me the consensus from those that have done the comparison is the saddle tan.
Okay,
We do a
Most
motion that-
represent.
it would be closest, I think, too.
Yeah.
Make a motion that we approve the color of the new fire station to be one color and the closest tan to the existing building. Give them a chance to hold them up one last time before we do it, but that would be my motion on just the new portion.
I'll second that.
Motion by Jeff, second by Rich, to go with a tan that most represents what is current on existing fire station. This color will be for the addition only. Further council discussion? Any public comment? All those in favor of the motion signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to approve change order to single tan color carried unanimously. Thanks, Dan. 8.2, review and approval of street closure request by Anamosa Fire Department. Dan Frank, Fire Chief.
This is in your packet. So I just want to just make a couple comments about our fire department. So it's coming in as chief. I just want to recognize that our firefighters do invest a lot of their time at our fire department, whether going to calls or spending time at our fire department training, also volunteering time doing our pop cans. Our pop cans help raise a lot of extra money to buy equipment that's necessary for us to do our job. And the community's behind us with our pop cans. And so our guys volunteer a bunch of their time. The families of the firefighters also sacrifice their time with us firefighters being gone on calls, training nights. Many times we'll miss our kids' sporting events, or we get called out on if we're having time with our family, the pager will go off and we get a call. So we're recognizing that our families do sacrifice their time with us. So on the 22nd of August, it's a Sunday, we want to have a family picnic over at the pavilion at the pool, just to show our families that we appreciate them giving up their time to let us help others, and that, you know, we appreciate our family supporting us. Basically, we're going to have a picnic, and one of the firefighter things is water ball. We do it at Pumpkin Fest. So we want to set up on Lynn Street water ball contest for our families to participate in, firefighters to participate in. In order to do so, we do have to close the intersection of First and Lynn so we can access a fire hydrant and part of Lynn Street to set it up. So that's what I'm asking for, is let us close that intersection for 6 hours on Sunday.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion by Rich, second by Jeff.
No,
I'm sorry, second by Alan.
that's okay. I've been called worse.
Any further council discussion?
That's the only thing, Dan, you will notify that owner of the house on the corner that, you know, you're gonna shut that street off. Barricade.
Response to that, John, I emailed him today and
Oh,
he
okay.
has no problem with it.
Okay, that's good.
He's been forewarned.
Fine.
And you're not completely closing the intersection of First and Lynn, just a portion.
Just a portion of it, so people will still be able to turn from First on Lynn Street going south. So we just need part of it blocked out, so one of those.
Sounds like a fun time.
So, no, it's something we've talked about doing for years, and it's kind of let it know that we
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I
Good deal.
agree.
You know, thank you.
Any public comment? Any further council discussion? Okay, we have a motion by Rich, second by Alan. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to approve the request carried unanimous. Thanks, Dan, and thank you to the fire department for all they do. Very appreciated. 8.3, resolution approving and authorizing the placement of funds in various depositories.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Galen, second by John. Further council discussion?
I do have a question. Beth, I see your name's on here as potentially one of the signatories. Should you be removed from that for,
So since technically no one else is the city clerk,
Beth, could you
Since technically I'm still the city clerk, I still have to be a signator.
Okay.
So the auditor was fine. I did ask if we needed, so she had no objection to why Jacob wasn't a signature either. So I'm not sure what the tradition was, but
Well, I'm just asking for separation of duties and
so we'll still have segregation of duties. So if someone does a deposit, we all still review it. So
Okay.
there's still our checks and balances. We're just gonna update our procedures for the audit as far as segregation.
okay.
Any further discussion? Penny, would you conduct a roll call, please?
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Packard,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Abstain.
Capron.
Yes.
Motion to approve authorization carried unanimously with one abstain. 8.4, review and approval of pay request for request number two for the downtown facade project. The amount of $178,142.86 to Tricon General Construction.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Jeff. Further council discussion? Public comment? All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to approve pay request carried unanimous. 8.5, review and approval of June treasurer's report.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alan, second by Rich. Further discussion? All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to approve report carried unanimous. 8.6, review and approval of current bills.
It's the new report.
It's nice.
It's actually.
Yes. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Rich. Further discussion,
Yeah.
comments on the bills.
Couple items. Minger mowing and landscaping for 1,500 for downtown pavers. Or Main Street pavers.
So.
Is that along the curb there? Is that what that
Yes.
is?
Yeah. So yeah, those two beds there, we just had too much trouble with drainage.
Hmm.
So we just need to pay.
And then on metal design for 12.5, I'm assuming that's our portion of the upstairs remodel.
It is.
That's our only cost for that project.
No, so
No.
that's what we committed to, so that's what we're paying them so far. We have had some discussions, I do have the actual costs, so the budget did go over. We're still talking about how we're gonna handle that. So more to come.
Okay.
Did they let you know that the budget was going over before that happened?
So I don't know that they do until they got the bill. The main one that went over was the bill from the painters. And that was because that, the side with the fireplace, the Memorial Hall, had so much more damage to the wall than we anticipated. So they did do quite a bit more repair work than we thought they
okay.
would. So that's mainly the one that went over. So I figured I'd take a look at our budget too, to see what we had in place for the city hall maintenance. To see if we could maybe something that way too, so.
Okay.
Any other questions? In the motion by Kay, second by Rich. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to approve carried unanimous. 9.0, city administrators report.
So today I sent in our request for computers through the CARES Act, through the state of Iowa. We'll see what happens. It was pretty easy to do so, and it sounds like the bookkeeping for it's fairly simple as well. I did order mainly tablets and one replacement laptop. So, and a couple of webcams just in case we ever have to go back to everybody being at home again. I also got a memorandum from the state regarding the American Rescue Plan funding. And so we should be expecting in the next few weeks our first round, which is $412,572. So a little more than I was expecting, which is good. Because I'm sure we'll use it up on water and sewer. I think that's it.
Thanks for that report, Beth. Does council have any questions or comments for Beth? Hearing none. 10.0, mayor and council reports. 10.1, mayor's report. So we are over a week removed from the RAGBRAI event. I did want to pass on comments that I have heard. Friday morning, I talked to an individual from Salt Lake City, Utah, that was a rider. He did tell me that it was the best overnight stay on RAGBRAI for the week. There would have been two more to come, I guess. But as of that time, he thought it was the best overnight stay. Numerous other riders I spoke with, I just do not recall where their home base was. They said it was also the most hospitable community that they stayed in for the RAGBRAI week. So planning committee, volunteers, anybody that supported RAGBRAI, thank you for rolling out the carpet for RAGBRAI riders, and Anamosa, you should be proud of what you did. That is all I have. 10.2, council reports.
No meeting this month.
I can say that one of the people that came from Tooth and Road and RAGBRAI was from England. And there was a myriad of people from out of state that came through here. And the most comments I got were, this is the most fun and the nicest town they were in the whole ride, which says a lot for this little bird we're living in. I'm pretty proud of that. And as far as the departments that got this place ready for the RAGBRAI, my hat's off to you guys. I wished everybody, the heads of departments were here so everybody could hear this. But I got comments from people saying that when they went down the next day, you couldn't even tell that they were here. You guys had everything ready, and the RAGBRAI people were very courteous. You'd see them picking things up and policing the areas. The only downside to it, I guess, is we lost a little bit of money, but that was expected. I mean, that's something that happens in RAGBRAI. But I think the advertisement we got was well worth it this time.
Thanks for the words. Anybody else? 11.0, public comment for items not on the agenda. Anyone in council chambers? Hearing none. 12.0, adjournment. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Rich. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to adjourn carried unanimous.